Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop culture to see how those incidents may or may not affect our daily lives. Listen, we're going to go over Lizzo's interview with Kiki Palmer. Kiki Palmer has a show that This is Kiki Palmer, and Lizzo did go on and she did address the lawsuits that were levied against us. Now, let me go over really, really quickly. Y'all, please like this video. And if you like what you see, subscribe. And once you subscribe, you'll be open to a plethora of movies and television series that I have reviewed. Also, my pop culture chats. This is in the lines of celebrity legal news because this is Lizzo coming to an interview where she's talking with Kiki Palmer about this. So she said in this interview that this was the first and the last time that she was going to address this issue. So she went to Kiki Palmer's platform to be able to address this issue. What I want to do is I did watch the interview in its entirety. And so, what I want to do is juxtapose this from an article and then give you my information as I see it, as I have reviewed it and put the notes up here for this interview. So, if you're not aware, back in, I think it was like August or July of 2023, Lizzo was hit with lawsuits from her dancer and from a stylist, stating that she uh, harassed them. They had a very poor working environment, all of these things that have come out. And if you're not familiar, please go back through my playlist and see my under the celebrity legal news and watch my playlist in regards to this because I read the lawsuits as what we're looking forward, what we're talking about here today. I want to go over this because this is Lizzo talking about this probably 6 months after all of this has come out. And I do want to fairly say that within these lawsuits, the judge has dismissed the case against Lizzo as an individual, but her big girl entertainment company and her dance captain are still on the hook for these lawsuits. Okay. I want to be very clear that the judge dismissed the lawsuits as Lizzo, an individual, but they do still have the lawsuits listed under her company, her touring company, and her dance captain, from what I understand. All right. So I want to make that clear. The lawsuits are still pending. It's just that as Lizzo as an individual is no longer a party to the lawsuits. Okay. So that's where we are. So she's taking this opportunity to speak in regards to what's going on with the lawsuits and how she felt. Okay. So Kiki Palmer did the interview. I will say Kiki Palmer did hold her feet to the fire and had the specific issues in the lawsuit in which she's been accused, and Lizzo answered how she answered. Okay. So, what I want to do first is I want to present this article. We're going to read this article and then we're going to go from there. All right. And as you see on the screen with this is a e-news article. As you see as a picture of the screen, I have done a video in regards to Blake Lively and her harassment lawsuit with the company that she did uh, for the movie that she did, and you see that t- uh, on the screen right here. But let's get into this. This is an article written by Will Reed. It says Lizzo shares rare update on sexual harassment lawsuit. Lizzo addressed a lawsuit filed against her in August 2023 by three former backup dancers, maintaining she did nothing wrong in an interview with Kiki Palmer. Lizzo is saying exactly how she feels. The Truth Hurts singer spoke about the lawsuits filed against her by three of her former dancers in 2023, days after she wrapped up her special tour accusing the star of sexual harassment, weight shaming, and disability discrimination, among other grievances. She says, I was literally living my dream, Lizzo told Kiki Palmer on the December 19th episode of the Baby, this is Kiki Palmer podcast. And then the tour ended, and three ex dancers just completely like blindsided me with a lawsuit. The Grammy winning winner said that she was deeply hurt by the allegations because the plaintiffs, Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noel Rodriguez, were people that I gave opportunities to. I was like, what? She recalled. But then I heard all the other things like as sexual harassment, and I was like, they're trying to, well, I don't know what they're trying to do, but these are the types of things that the media can turn into something that it is not. During the sit down, the 36-year-old also maintained her innocence in the matter. Let's be clear, she emphasized. I did nothing wrong, so I have no regrets. In the complaint obtained by E! News at the time, the dancer accused the About Damn Time singer of creating, quote, a hostile, abusive work environment while they worked for her. They said Lizzo arranged a February 2023 group outing to Amsterdam's red light district where she was allegedly inviting cast members to take turns touching the nude performers. So let's get into that really, really quickly because Lizzo addressed that. And what Lizzo addressed is this, that she was going to this outing. She was going to see these people perform a like burlesque type situation. And what she understood at that moment, that this burlesque type performance has been going on for like, I want to say she said the 1940s, but it could have been that she said for over 40 years. So forgive me if I misinterpreted what she said. And that the way that those performers worked out, that they asked for consent for all the things that they do. And she's saying that at any time that anybody that felt like they were uncomfortable, they didn't have to do anything, because the way the burlesque performance was is that they always asked you, do you want to do this, do you want to do that, do you want to touch the banana, do you want to touch the performers? And if the performers, if the audience says no, they move on to the next person. So she talked about that. She also talked about the fact that she conflated her role as their boss, trying to be their friend. And that is a very good lesson to learn, particularly when you are hiring your friends and when you're hiring family. There is a separation that has to be there. I think a lot of times we think that when our friends hire us, that we have some type of say in how the quote unquote business is run. We don't. So if you have the opportunity that your friend or your family member hires you, there should be a separation from you being their boss and from them being your employee. If there cannot be any harmonious type that, then you need to, as the boss, you need to let your employee know, hey, you're conflating two different things. It doesn't seem like it's going to work out, and you're going to have to go. Now, you see my fingers. This is the boss. This is the employee. This is how it always is, whether you know the people or not. These people are your boss. And you are their employee. If you want to have a friend relationship, then you do not ask to be hired by your friend, because they're going to have to do that. And she mentioned in this interview that she had to learn that. So for those of us that are wanting to be bosses, and we have instances that we can hire our friends, our family members, that has to be established in the beginning. And if they feel like in any situation that they cannot take direction from you because you are their boss and this is your company and this is where you're going to go, then you need to keep them as your friend or your family members and separate it as that. And I think she made it very clear that she had to learn that lesson. Uh, This was a growth process for her. Uh, she feels like she was completely blindsided by this lawsuit. And she also emphasized that she was dismissed from the case as an individual. Okay. All right. During the sit down, the 36-year-old also maintained her innocence in the matter. Let's be clear, she emphasized, I did nothing wrong, so I have no regrets. In the complaint obtained by E! News at the time, the dancer also accused the About Damn Time singer of creating a hostile, abusive work environment while they worked for her. They said Lizzo arranged a 20. Okay, we read that. Following the release of the podcast, the dancer's lawyer said that the women stand by the claims of the lawsuit. There is an utter attack There's an utter act of awareness by Lizzo, failing to see how these young women on her team who are just starting their careers would feel pressured to accept an invitation from their global celebrity boss who rarely hangs out with them. Attorney Ron Zambrino said in a statement to E! News on December 19th, there is a power dynamic in the boss employee context that Lizzo utterly fails to appreciate. Lizzo says she has been dismissed from the lawsuit. However, the dancer's attorney said she remains a defendant in the harassment lawsuit that's being reviewed by the Court of Appeals. Days after the filing, Lizzo addressed the situation in a post on social media, denying the allegations levied against her. These sensationalized stories, she wrote on her Instagram page in August 2023, are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. Lizzo went on to say that while she didn't want to portray herself as a victim, she didn't want to be villainized either. Quote, I am very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out something that I am not, she continued. There is nothing I take more seriously than the respect we deserve as women in the world. I know what it feels like to be body shamed on a daily basis and would absolutely never criticize or terminate an employee because of their weight. All right. So I want to go over there. Kiki Palmer went over the incident about what was going on, and Lizzo answered the questions. And I did talk about that she had been so dismissed from the case as an individual, but as her company, the company is still under the lawsuit, and her employees are also still under the lawsuit. Lizzo says, "Silly." Let's see what she said. She said from this incident that she has learned now that she has to accept the boundaries, regardless if you're friends or not. You can't be friends with your employees. You're gonna have to set boundaries, and if those boundaries are not acceptable, then you know you can't continue to keep those people under your employment. She talked about her joy and her pain. She said something to the aspect of, you wouldn't believe my joy until you see my pain. That struck out for me, that people were like, oh well, you acting like things are not bothering you, but I can't be joyous in a time of pain at this point. But she did separate herself from this information, from this lawsuit or time and stuff like that, because she had to go back and recalculate and reformulate how she was going to do business henceforth. She said that going to the Banana Bar, which is a big instance of where they had the burlesque store in Amsterdam, she said that she was going and that she invited people to go with her. It wasn't mandatory, it wasn't anything like that. And she also explained that this burlesque show has been going on since 1945, that they have been talking about consent and consensuality, and that if you wanted to participate, you could. If you did not, the banana bar establishment would move on from you. And so she was saying that she personally did not make anybody participate in anything that they didn't want to. There was parameters established because this show has been going on since 1945. There were parameters and set that if you did not want to consent to this show, you did not have to. And that's what she went off of. She didn't know who was coming. She just gave an all around invite. So the dancers had the opportunity of not going if they didn't feel comfortable with going. So she just kind of addressed a lot. She addressed maybe 3 or 4 instances within the lawsuit. Um, she felt like she was blindsided by the lawsuit. She said the experience taught her to teach boundaries, to set boundaries. She stated that she didn't fat shame anyone. She didn't feel like she would do that because she's fat. That didn't make any sense to her. Uh, what do you all think about that? Go watch that interview. It was an interesting interview. She did go over. Kiki Palmer did ask her some of the questions that needed to be answered about her fat shaming people, about her being how she was being an employer. She did say that she had to learn some lessons, and again, I've talked about it a couple of times before about separating the fact that you are an employer to people. You really can't be friends with these people because once you put that air of friendship, that respect from an employer goes out of the window. And let's just be clear, it does. So I appreciated the interview. Uh, Again, I can respect the fact that she can't go in depth on all of these different things because it is an active case. Uh, I do accept that she understands now her role as an employer and what she needs to do. Again, we're just going to have to see how this lawsuit pans out in court. What do you all think about the interview? Did you watch that? Baby, this is Kiki Palmer, that interview. So it is out on YouTube. You definitely can go watch it. Let me know down in the comments. What do you all think? Do you think that her explanation of things was acceptable? Do you think that there's some other things that she needs to talk about? Again, I keyed on the fact that I appreciated the fact that she keyed on the fact that when you're an employer, you're an employer. If you can't separate the fact that you have friends and employees and you can't separate those types of things, you need to go I appreciate the fact that she now realizes that. We do have to appreciate the fact that the judge has separated her as an individual for these lawsuits. However, her company and the people who are in her employ are still under these lawsuits. So we will see. It's just a matter of these lawsuits are now going to have to be presented in court. She didn't say anything about settling or anything like that. She's saying that she did not do the things that they're saying that she did. And so she is basically, we're having to wait to the court hearing. So what do you all think? Y'all make sure y'all go and watch that interview. Again, it's the podcast, Baby, This is Kiki Palmer. And that is the interview with Lizzo. Again, y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video if you care. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you cannot stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.